So first of all, I've really got to thank Gary, the executive, and all the Right for Dad members for putting this amazing summit together, and in particular for inviting the other researchers and myself here. It's such an honor and a privilege to be here in front of you and have a chance to meet with you and maybe share and discuss some of our vision and some of the thoughts you might have as to how we can improve outcome for men with prostate cancer. Whitehorse is fantastic. This has to be Canada's best kept secret. Did anybody? I just got in yesterday, and I'd never been up here before, and I just stood in awe outside the hotel, looking around at the beauty and the fresh air. You see, in Toronto, because I come from Toronto, in Toronto we don't have fresh air. And we don't have skies. So it's just such a treat to come up here and breathe the air and see the sky and the mountains around. So thank you very much, and you can be sure I'm going to be back here many times. But back to the issue in question, which is prostate cancer. And I don't need to tell you all that prostate cancer is a big issue in Canada. These are 2017 Canadian statistics. And what you see here in blue are the number of new cases of different types of cancers occurring in Canada. And so you can see right from the start that there are well over 20,000 new cases of prostate cancer being diagnosed this year in Canada. And we'd expect, unfortunately, that about 4,000 men in Canada are likely to die from prostate cancer. So prostate cancer is the most commonly diagnosed cancer amongst Canadian men, and it is the third most common cause of cancer death. So it is a big issue, and it's really frustrating to hear people say prostate cancer doesn't matter because you'll die with it rather than from it. The statistics don't support that. 4,000 men every year are dying from prostate cancer. So it is a big health issue. Now, that was 2017. If we look at what has been happening over the last few decades, it's quite interesting. So again, the blue here is what's called the incidence of prostate cancer. So that's the number of new cases found across the country. And again, this is 2017. This is from Statistics Canada in 2017. It's sort of brown now, I think, but the brown line at the bottom is what's called mortality, so a number of men who are dying, and it's adjusted. It's what's called per 100,000. So there's a statistical way of sort of normalizing all this. But what I'd like you to note is the top line sort of wiggles up and down. So these are the number of new cases since 1988. And what you can see is that in the early 90s, there was a huge increase in the number of cases of prostate cancer being diagnosed. And that sort of peaked initially in the early 90s when people started using PSA testing. And then with continued use of PSA, there was another spike in the early 2000s, sort of plateaued a little bit. But for the last 10 years, and particularly for the last 5 years, there has been a significant decrease in the number of new cases of prostate cancer that are being found, which is good news and bad news, which maybe we can talk about at some point later. It's good news, obviously, that there's less prostate cancer being found, but the problem is there cancer there that we're not finding? And part of the reason for the decline in the number of new cases of prostate cancer is that people are shying away from early detection and shying away from using PSA, which is probably may not be a good thing. But the good news on this graph isn't so much the top line, it's the bottom line. And what you see is that the mortality rate from prostate cancer, the number of men who die from prostate cancer, even though it's still quite high, has halved since 1996. So over the last 20 years, there's been a halving in the number of men, in the mortality from prostate cancer. Why is that? Well, part of it is probably early detection because of use of PSA. But if you read the current Statistics Canada explanation, they say two things, two reasons for the decreasing mortality from prostate cancer. Number one, better treatment with radiation. And that's something that we'll maybe hear a little bit about. So we know that better radiation treatment in particular is able to improve cure rate from prostate cancer. The other reason is better systemic treatment, so better hormone treatment and greater use of hormone treatment and other systemic treatments and new treatments to treat prostate cancer. So both of these improvements come from research, and it's the type of research that starts with the type of funding that we get from a group like this. So what we see here is a mixed story. The good thing is the reduction in the number of men dying from prostate cancer, which comes largely as a result of successful research. People coming up with new ideas, new ways of treatment, better treatments. So we're able to cure men with less side effects. And the decreasing incidence of prostate cancer, let's watch, because it may be that we're just closing our eyes to something that's really happening. I learned a lot since I've come to Whitehorse. I came yesterday, and before coming, I had to look and see, well, what's Whitehorse? What do I need to know before coming to the Yukon? And the ministry, the Yukon ministry, have got wonderful literature. I don't know if anyone else has studied this booklet as intensely as I have, but it tells you all about bears in the Yukon, and I haven't seen one on the street yet. But I do know what to do if I see one, because I've read the booklet. So I come from Ireland originally. I don't know if anyone picked up on that, but the most, the only thing that bites you in Ireland, the biggest thing that bites you in Ireland is a midgie when you're out camping. And the most aggressive creature you come across in Ireland is a sheep farmer who's had too much poitín the night before. So it's different. It's different here. So you've got to learn a lot about bears. So I had a look, and apparently there's more than one bear. There's all sorts of different bears, and you have to, according to the booklet, you have to be able to try to figure out, well, is this a serious bear that's going to cause you problems? Or is this like an aggressive bear, or is it like a little teddy bear you don't have to worry too much about? And it's hard to tell just by looking at them. Like, they've got all these interesting diagrams on the website, but talking about the different ratio of different parts, the length of their nose compared to this. Like, if you see a bear, you're not going to be getting out your ruler and trying to measure all these things. And you can't just tell by their color, apparently, because you can have some brown bears that are black, and black bears that are brown, and grizzly bears that are grizzly in colored, and grizzly bears that are blonde and black. Like, it's very confusing. So you just can't look at a bear and say, okay, that's a non-aggressive bear. That's an aggressive bear. You might have to look. You have to look a little bit more closely. And some of these things you got to be careful, because some of these bears, you might be quite happy fishing away. And out of nowhere, this bloody bear comes, and so you got to be aware. I learned all this from the booklet. It's a great booklet. You should all read it. But if you go fishing, keep an eye on your right side, because there's often a bear, apparently. And he may be a hungry bear. You don't know. But there's a few things you got to look out for if you do see a bear, to try to tell if this is an aggressive bear or not. If it's salivating, apparently that's not a good thing. Okay. And if it's got his mouth open, again, that's not good. These are signs that maybe that bear is a bit more on the aggressive side. So you got to figure out, that like all these bears, like initially look the same, but the top guy, he looks a bit cuddly, so that's okay. So if he's a cuddly-looking bear, apparently you don't have to worry too much about him, because he's just curious. But if he's staring at you intently with his ears up like this, and especially if he's charging at you, apparently that's the situation where you got to think twice and think maybe this bear is a little bit more aggressive. And there's a few things to do. Like, you can take out your bear spray and spray it, maybe. I'm not sure. I'm not sure about that, but apparently that's what you can do. Or you just lie down and pray, which is another response. But apparently, it's important to have the right response to the particular bear based on its level of aggression. That if this is a really aggressive bear, lying down and saying your prayers isn't going to do you any good. You gotta be a bit more proactive. And so there's this checklist in the booklet, and it's a really detailed book. Okay, like what you do if it's approaching you, and if it's a defensive approach, or it's a non-defensive approach. So you got to interrogate the bear. Are you being defensive or non-defensive? Because there's a big difference. The bottom line is like the bear attacks. If it's defensive, fall on the ground and play dead. And when the attack stops, lie still and wait for the bear to leave. Okay, that's if it's. But then if it's a non-defensive attack, fight for your life. So you got to get it right. And if you also, the book says that if you are going to tackle this aggressive bear that's charging at you, if you've brought fire, this is directly from the book. I didn't make it up. You gotta make sure that you hit it hard. You gotta apparently. So if you're carrying firearms, you gotta have a 30 caliber or larger, or a 12 gauge shotgun with rifled slugs. I have no idea what that is, but it sounds pretty impressive. Whatever that is, and you gotta practice until you can shoot it quickly and accurately under stress and at close range. And you gotta, if you use a firearm, you gotta aim to kill and don't just wound it. Okay. So I thought, gee, this is really good. So I came here equipped. I figured a lot of things out about bears. So what I've learned is, well, it's best to avoid these bears if possible. I think that'd be my first strategy. I think we're okay in this room. I don't know, Gary, but I think we're okay. And then if you encounter one, you got to figure out, well, is it a threat or not? And then how is it going to behave? Is this going to be an aggressive bear or not an aggressive bear? And then, if it is an aggressive bear and he does want to eat you, you've got to respond appropriately, and you got to hit it hard. And you know what? I was thinking this is actually very like prostate cancer, and this is very like what the researchers are going to be talking to you about in a moment, because we'd like initially to avoid having prostate cancer. That would be like the best approach. If we could say, well, there's no prostate cancer, let's prevent prostate cancer. That would be like a really good strategy. But if we are found with prostate cancer, well, how aggressive is it? And our response to it should be determined by the particulars of the cancer that we're dealing with. Now, the research that you're going to hear talking shortly will also talk to you about this. They will couch some of these in with big words, okay, like shotgun and rifled slugs. But the bottom line is that that what they were really trying to find is, first of all, if someone is found to have prostate cancer, we need to understand what we're dealing with, because these prostate cancers, they can look similar. They can be disguised. You can have brown bears with black and brown and all this sort of stuff. Same with prostate cancer. We need to be more better able to determine exactly what sort of cancer we're dealing with. How aggressive is it? How is it likely to behave? Is it, and what should our response to it be? How does it behave in different situations? So prostate cancer that's come back after initial treatment, prostate cancer when it's later on, when it's maybe having treatment with hormones or failed treatment with hormones. How is it going to behave then? Can we predict how it's going to behave in these situations? Where is it? We need better ways of identifying where in the body the cancer is lurking. And then, okay, so that's how it behaves. But a bigger question that's just describing how the cancer is likely to behave. What we really want to find out is why it's behaving aggressively. So why does a particular cancer behave in a certain way? What has irritated this bear? Okay? Because if you can maybe get some clues as to why this cancer is behaving aggressively, then maybe we can do things to prevent that from happening in the first place. Okay? And then once the bear is attacking, you've got it salivating, he's looking at you hungry, you've got an aggressive cancer, how should we best treat it? And again, we've got a number of researchers who've been working on this, developing better ways of treating the cancer. So we have a number of researchers here, and we're all equally grateful for the support that we've had from all of you over the last many years. And these are some of the projects that have been funded, and we're going to hear a little bit about them over the next little while. So if you look at some of the words of the projects, aggressiveness, how to evaluate tumor aggressiveness. Like, is this bear aggressive or not? How do we identify it? We can look at new tools, even though all these cancers, they look a little bit alike, but they're not. They're all different. How do we differentiate? How do we figure out, is this an aggressive cancer? Is it a threatening cancer? Why is it behaving in a certain way? Are there some genes that are being expressed to cause it to behave this way? And how should we treat it? Can we use HDR brachytherapy, for example, or other ways to be very specific in targeting it? Can we use the immune response? Can we harness the body's immune system to help us in treating the cancer? How can we do all these things? How about new agents, new chemotherapy, for example? So these are the researchers who are going to be spending a little bit of time and talking to you over the next little while. And they're going to be introducing themselves and explaining a little bit about their work. So we haven't planned in advance what sort of order these people are going to come. So I kind of lumped it up here based on the theme, based on those who are looking for aggressiveness, and so on. So what I'd like to do maybe is to now invite the different researchers to come up and spend 5 minutes introducing themselves to you, so you get to know them, get an idea of what these people look like, and maybe they can explain what they're doing and how the funding that they've received is important in helping.